Today, we are looking at whether the electric car means the end of DIY repairs. We'll see just how much maintenance electric cars need and how that impacts your wallet. We'll also share some practical tips on how to care for your electric car. So hop in and let's get going. Did you know that a conventional internal combustion engine can have as many as 2,000 moving parts, but an electric car has far fewer moving parts? That's because they have an electric motor instead of a gas-powered motor. For example, the drivetrain in an electric vehicle can have around 20 parts. So overall, fewer moving parts means fewer mechanical problems. But that doesn't mean electric cars are maintenance-free either. Electric cars have complex electrical components like power steering motors, AC pumps, and high-voltage relay banks. So let's look at the 5 most common maintenance issues for electric vehicles and their cost. The battery pack in an electric car is like the heart of the vehicle. Taking care of it as you would care for the engine in a regular gas-powered car is very important. Keep in mind also that the battery of an electric car is not the same battery that we're used to seeing in a traditional car. In terms of function, the EV's motor does the work traditionally done by the internal combustion engine. To operate, it needs the battery which powers it. The battery is one of the most expensive parts of the electric vehicle. In fact, it's more expensive than the motor itself, and its condition affects the residual value of the entire electrical vehicle. So that's why it's important to take care of the battery. It's good to keep in mind that it can get damaged if the vehicle is left in extremely hot or cold temperatures for too long, or it can die completely if you charge it too much or too often. Generally, under normal driving conditions, electric vehicle batteries last up to 10 years before they need to be replaced. Some common reasons for failure include decrease in capacity or the loss of its ability to hold its charge. It's estimated the average electric battery loses about 2.3% of its initial capacitive range every year in a car. That is, you will still be able to drive the car normally, but with less range every year due to battery use. By the way, did you know that GM is developing a battery that is rated for 1,000,000 miles? If they succeed, then you certainly won't have to worry about how long your vehicle's electric battery will last. But until then, you need to look after your car's electric battery. To help you do just that, here are some tips on how to care for your electric vehicle's battery. First, try to maintain battery level between 20% and 80%. Remember that repeated frequent recharging of the battery will degrade it more quickly. So you don't want to be charging it up to full every chance you get. And vice versa, if you leave the battery at a low level for too long, that's bad too. Second, know the difference between regular day-to-day driving versus a long road trip. For instance, if your normal commute is from home to work to the store and back home, then charging to 80% or less shouldn't be a concern, and it shouldn't cause you to have range anxiety. You don't need to change the battery too often and unnecessarily. But if you're planning on going on a long trip, then it's better to fully charge the battery to 100% and drive until it just about runs out. That's the optimal way to charge for long trips. Third, remember that batteries don't like extreme temperatures. Of course, heat and cold impact the battery in different ways and to differing degrees. For example, electric vehicles have a longer range at higher temperatures, but frequent exposure to hot conditions will degrade the battery more quickly. Do what you can to avoid leaving your electric car for several hours under the scorching sun. Park it in the shade. On the other hand, colder temperatures won't have the same degrading effect on the battery as the heat has, but the cold will significantly reduce the range of the battery. So in sub-zero temperatures, it's better to leave the car in the garage and not out in the open. But now, let's look at the brakes of an electric vehicle. Electric vehicles use regenerative braking as well as conventional friction brake. Regenerative braking allows an electric vehicle to operate with what's called one-pedal driving. Pressing the accelerator pedal sets the car in motion, and if you release it, the regenerative braking system is activated. For example, when you release the accelerator pedal, the electric motor begins to work as a generator, and something similar to conventional braking with a gasoline engine occurs. Therefore, you can stop at a traffic light simply by releasing the accelerator or gas pedal. When an electric car slows down, it is at that moment the kinetic energy is converted back into electrical energy, thereby recharging the battery. It happens like this. When an electric vehicle is braking, the electric motor stops powering the vehicle so that it slows down. Now that it's disconnected from the battery, the electric motor goes into generator mode, generating electricity on its own from the braking. Then, on the shaft of the electric motor, we get braking torque from the resistance of the engine. The captured energy then goes to the battery. Regenerative braking is more effective for your car, so your braking system wear out much less frequently than in a gasoline-powered car. But you still have to replace your brake pads and discs as well as brake fluid from time to time. Although electric vehicles also use friction brakes, they tend to last much longer than gasoline-powered vehicles. The same applies to brake fluid. Brake pads and discs are compressed together using the same hydraulic fluid as a normal car. This fluid is hygroscopic, which means it loves to absorb water moisture from the air. Quick note about this, your brake system will corrode if you don't flush it regularly. So, as with a conventional car, you do have to regularly check the brake fluid top as needed. This is part of the maintenance needed in an electric car. The same is the case with the coolant. Most electric vehicles use refrigerant to prevent the battery from overheating and catching fire. Frequency or flushing and replenishing the coolant varies from car's make and model, so it's best to refer to the owner's manual. And of course, an electric car uses the same 4 wheels as a regular car. That's why you need regular tire maintenance. It's good to check the air pressure regularly and make sure they're properly balanced and aligned. EV tires are anything but low maintenance. Some have reported their EV tires needing to be replaced at just 28,000 miles. See, with normal combustion engine cars, you have no choice but to regularly take them into your local shop for oil changes and other maintenances. Usually that's when you get your tires rotated too. But since EVs require far less maintenance, that means your tires may not get rotated as needed. And that's why the drive tires of your EV can wear out faster. It also means that you won't be able to make a warranty claim on them either. That's a common folly that EV drivers find after the fact. In general, it's recommended you rotate your car's tire every 6 months or 7,500 miles. And just to be on the safe side, you should visually inspect them once a month. EV's tires are the only parts of the cars that physically connect to the road, so it's important you keep a close eye on them. Did you know that most tire centers offer free lifetime rotation on the tires they install? But why? Well, the answer's simple. They do in hopes that when you come in to get your tires rotated, you'll need another service when you come in, like a brake job. Pretty smart plan, except for one small detail. The plan doesn't work too well when it comes to EVs, since they don't need as much maintenance. So if you own an EV, you get free tire rotation, which means your tires will last longer than otherwise. You see, today the service industry is really streamlined for oil changes and minor services for the average combustion engine car. But it won't be like that for much longer. Soon it'll start to slowly be streamlined for EVs too, especially with the 2035 combustion engine ban that's coming up. Believe it or not, there are actually people who believe that rotating your tires is a bad idea. Whatever your opinion, one thing's for sure. Tire rotation is required for most tire warranties. So, if you want to keep your warranty valid, you don't have much of a choice when it comes to tire rotation. It's important to know that these warranties often have other conditions that pose a challenge. For example, you have to buy a same set of tires each time. But here's the real question. Why do EV tires wear out faster? Well, for one, EVs are heavier than the equivalent combustion engine car. Electric sedans, for example, are much heavier than traditional sedans, yet the tires are the same size. So, you need tires with a higher weight rating. But the higher your tire's weight rating, the faster they'll wear out. Here's another reason. EVs produce instant torque when they accelerate. And believe me, anyone who ever buys an EV and drives it for the first time are going to test hitting 0 to 60. This instantaneous response could easily end up leading to increased wear very quickly. And some EV tires might have tread for high performance acceleration. You don't technically have to buy them, but you do need to get a tire that properly supports the weight of your vehicle. With all these fancy add-ons available, some EV drivers like to take advantage of these additional capabilities and show them off. But the more sporty driving you do, the faster you're going to see the rubber wear out. But it's not just the tires, also the electric motor and the battery pack. Let's talk about EV tire cost. Well, the cost to replace the tires on your EV really all depends on the type of electric vehicle you drive. Some EVs need ultra-high performance summer tires, and for others, all they need is to be equipped with Grand Touring all-season rubber. So your EV tires can cost you anywhere from $200 to over $300 each. As a benchmark, a Tesla Model 3 replacement tire can cost about $285 plus $50 for installation. So a set can be about $1,300 before tax. That's actually pretty similar when it comes to higher-end luxury cars or sports combustion engine cars. The only difference is you have to replace your EV tires sooner and more frequently, and that makes the cost sting that much more frequently. So, if you plan on purchasing an EV, don't forget to estimate the total lifetime cost of the tires will be. If you're not careful, let's say for instance you drive like a jackrabbit with quick starts and you don't rotate the tires as needed well, then the frequency you need to replace your EV tires will get very pricey very fast. Another reason why your EV's tires can get so expensive of has to do with silence. Really, many EV owners love the silence of their cars when they drive. After all, that's one of the things EVs are known for. But if you want your EV tires to match the silence of your low-noise motor, you're going to have to pay for it, and that isn't cheap. Did you know that your average combustion engine car's maintenance cost is estimated to cost 5 cents a mile, and tires at another penny a mile? When it comes to EVs, those same costs are lower, except when it comes to tires. At least that's one positive, that you have less regular maintenance costs in the long run, other than tire costs. But don't forget too, you paid way more, 2 or 3 times more, for the electric version of the sedan, Tesla, for example. Since their build quality is poor compared to more established traditional cars, yet you're paying a luxury price for a poorly built car. Natural question is, can you use non-EV tires on your EV? You might be surprised to learn that the answer is technically yes, and combustion engine cars could also technically function using EV tires too, but neither is recommended. Yes, you could even put non-EV tires on your EV and vice versa, but it could negatively affect the performance and comfort of your driving experience. Just think, EV tires are built to withstand heavier weight, so putting regular tires on your EV will likely end up causing the tires to wear out more quickly, and that defeats the point. Also, EV tires are specifically designed to provide a nice and quiet ride for the EVs. So if you replace them with regular tires, it will be quite a bit noisier. And it also wouldn't provide the same levels of low rolling resistance to optimize your EV's battery life. But while EVs do have their low maintenance advantages, there are definite disadvantages compared to combustion engine cars. For example, the sheer cost of EV repairs. Most EVs aren't cheap to begin with, and their repair is no exception. There have been many reports of Tesla 12-volt batteries failing completely. The only thing that saved consumers were their warranties. Parts for expensive cars are always going to be expensive. It's as simple as that. Just because your EV doesn't need regular maintenance doesn't change the fact that repairs might be needed for whatever reason. Even tires fail out of the blue due to bad road conditions. This can happen at various mileages. Also, your EV's battery will degrade over time. There's honestly not much you can do about that, unless you got a serious problem that crosses into your warranty's territory. Second, just think about how much it costs to replace an EV battery. Let's say you need to replace the battery in your Tesla Model S. Up front, we're looking at a battery cost of anywhere between $12,000 to $15,000. Then you add the extra $525 to $2,600 for labor costs for the technicians to actually replace the battery in your car. All in all, we're looking at a huge $13,000 to $17,000 for a full battery replacement. Do you have that kind of chump change? Normally, Tesla is the top of the EV innovation game. So are Tesla EV tires better than those of other EVs? Well, officially, tires installed at the factory on Tesla vehicles last around 30,000 miles. Some owners have even reported them lasting 40,000 miles. But on average, the lifespan of Tesla tires is anywhere from 25 to 30,000 miles. It just depends on road conditions and driving habits. Tesla tires are made with stronger rubber and higher quality materials than your average EV tire. Tesla tires are known for their thicker sidewalls and more durable rubber or synthetic rubber construction. And they're also known for their superior stopping power, anti-slip properties, grip, pressure retention, and puncture resistance. If you live in a snowy state, Tesla tires are a great option. And Tesla's summer tires are said to also handle the heat like no other. Did you know that sometimes the tires used on Tesla cars are just premium versions of standard tires? And you can even find these tires on other vehicles. For example, the Michelin Pilot Sport 235/40/18 tire is the one that's used on the Model 3. So just make sure to check it out before you make the purchase. They say Tesla now tells you the rear tires are wearing too unevenly compared to the front tires on rear-wheel drive vehicles. So remember to rotate them. Tesla recommends rotating your tires every 6,250 miles. And they also recommend that you rotate your tires if the tread depth difference between them goes over 2/32 of an inch. But Tesla tires do come with its own disadvantages. For instance, Tesla often doesn't have run-flat tires. These tires are pretty much a standard feature on other modern sedans, including the competition. And if you live in a rural area with dirt or gravel roads, Tesla tires may not be the ones for you. That's because Tesla has a limited variety of tires to select from when it comes to their all-wheel drive models. One thing is for certain. You might be glad to learn that electric cars don't need oil changes. They don't have an engine, so they don't need engine oil. Also, you don't need to worry about engine oil changes, spark plugs, or timing belt changes, so it's a huge upside. EVs do, however, often use oil inside their gearbox, which may need to be changed during the lifespan. So let's talk about the electric motor. Does the electric motor need to be serviced? And what is its life expectancy? In general, electric car motors can last anywhere from 15 to 20 years, provided they operate within specified norms and under ordinary operating conditions. Different electric cars use different types of electric motors. The most common is the AC induction motor. An electric motor's performance and life expectancy depends on various factors, including unexpected load changes, fluctuations in input power, improper installation, different environmental factors like humidity, temperature, and so forth. A motor's torque impacts instant mechanical performance. Power quality also has a huge impact. So you have a worn battery, the power quality isn't as good, it's going to wear the engine. Just like a worn out alternator in your car can wear your battery out. Or a worn-out battery can wear out your car's alternator faster in an internal combustion engine. So, what are the top causes of electric motor failures? Needless to say, without proper maintenance, EV motors will break down more quicker than intended. A common cause that impacts performance in life is contamination from chemicals or foreign particles like dirt and dust. Debris trapped inside engine can damage the ball bearings and raceways, which can lead to high levels of wear and vibration. The cooling fan can get blocked, which then limits the motor's ability to regulate the temperature. And that brings us to the next cause, which is overheating. Overheating can be a critical issue. It can be caused by high temperature outside or poor power quality. In fact, a significant percent of insulating failures in motors are because of overheating. Vibration is another enemy. This can result from corrosion or misalignment. Another problem is electrical current overload. This can be caused by low supply voltage, which causes the motor to draw excess amount of current to maintain torque. So, are electric cars cheaper to maintain? Do EVs require more or less maintenance than conventional cars? And how much more economical are they when compared to cars with an internal combustion engine? The truth is that electric cars require significantly less maintenance than gasoline-powered cars for obvious reasons. Fewer moving parts mean less repair and maintenance. One survey showed that electric car drivers pay about half the cost to repair and maintain their vehicles. According to one study, consumers who buy an electric vehicle can expect to save an average of $4,600 in repair and maintenance costs over the life of the vehicle, compared to a conventional internal combustion engine vehicle. So in the long run, an EV can become less expensive to maintain as long as the battery doesn't go bad. But that said, no system is perfect. There are still parts that can go wrong. Most common EV breakdowns are caused by punctures or issues with the battery. But now, you tell me, what do you think about this? Do you have any personal experience with electric vehicle maintenance or any funny or horror stories? Please comment below and share. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe to my channel. Thanks for your support.